What is up, YouTube? It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to another review. I believe this is review number 8 of April is equal to, that's better. April is equal to 80s month, and this is a 1981 classic that I saw many years ago. I didn't see this as a kid, but I would have loved to see the whole film as a kid. But it's the last film that Ray Harryhausen worked on the special effects, and the effects still hold up. And this is the original, not the 2010 remake. This is the original Clash of the Titans from 1981. Yeah, this movie is a classic. I mean, if you just watch this movie, as fun, 80s adventure fantasy film, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of a long movie, so it's not as short as you might think it is. It's one of Harryhausen's longest productions that he worked on as a special effects guy. He also produced a film with Charles H. Schneer, who did most of the Sinbad movies with Harryhausen. It's directed by Desmond Davis. It's 118 minutes. It's a little bit long in the tooth. So if you have kids, I don't know if they should watch this all the way through because, well, there are some things I have to warn you in the film. There's some partial nudity in the film. So in the beginning of the film and at the end. So I don't know if you should definitely wait until your kids are much older to watch this. And there's some gore in it as well because it was the early 80s. But other than that, the story is very straightforward. Perseus, played by Harry Hamlin, he does a great job. Sam Worthington couldn't tie his shoes in the remake. I know that for sure. He's on a quest to to rescue Andromeda from the Kraken. The Kraken looks great here. Practical effects, all handmade, nothing with CGI. This is why this original it got a higher rating than the remake, and it's withstood a lot of time. And I love the creature effects in this. The Pegasus horse and the Kraken and the two-headed dog and the Medusa head, the Medusa and a bunch of other stuff. I don't want to spoil too much, but if you haven't seen the original Clash of the Titans, go watch it. There is no other film like it. The remake can suck it. It's nothing. It's not as good as this one. I know it. And Wrath of the Titans, forget about that. I'm not going to waste my time. But the original is spot on. Really good cast. You got Harry Hamlin as Perseus. You got Judy Boker as Andromeda. Beautiful lady. Yes, she's British, but hey, it's the 80s. What do you expect? Burgess Meredith, the Penguin from the Batman TV series from the 60s, and Mickey from the first three Rocky films and his cameo in Rocky 5. You got Maggie Smith from, people may know her from the Harry Potter films. Ursula Andress, the very first Bond girl. Claire Bloom, Sean Phillips, Flora Robson, and Laurence Olivier as Zeus. That's an awesome casting, considering that he was sick at the time, but the man still pulled it off. And just this movie, just the way it is, I wish this had a commentary. I would have loved to hear what more about the film because it's such a classic. And it looks great, from the 80s. It doesn't really feel like an 80s film because most 80s fantasy films back then had a certain look, but this felt more like a 70s film. But just all the spectacle of this movie is still holds up very well. It doesn't matter how old it is. It's about 34 years old or 30. It was 1981, so 35 years this movie has endured, and it still remains one of the classic fantasy films of all time. And this was way before Lord of the Rings, before Harry Potter, before the Chronicles of Narnia, and all these other fantasy films we get today. This is not a dime a dozen. This is a hitting classic amongst a lot of the films in 1981. Just great score, beautiful music, a beautiful cinematography, really good locations in the film, and it's very satisfying. And if you could pick this up, I like this artwork because it looks really really beautiful. The other artwork is okay. It looks a little generic because it's just got Perseus's face right in your face, but it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. I would advise you watch this. Skip the remake. You're not missing out on anything except a lot of terrible CGI and some, like overacting and just, it's not. It's trying to be epic, but it doesn't. It fails. Just the trailers that I saw, just it looked nothing like the original, and this is where it's at. Originality always beats the remake, especially remakes from like the last 5 or 10 years. I love watching the originals. Even if they're dated, they're still better in quality and acting and directing and writing, in pacing. Even though this is almost 2 hours, you don't feel it as much as when the fantasy films come out today that they're like 2.5 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. I mean, wow. Lighten up a little bit, Hollywood. You don't have to make every fantasy film, a freaking Christopher Nolan or Peter Jackson movie. Just keep it short. Don't make it too long. And this is fine. I mean, it is a little padded out. If you don't like it is a slow burn. I'm going to say that this is not an action movie. It's a fantasy adventure film that takes a lot of there's a lot of traveling and things, and there's that Bubo, the mechanical owl that's very cute in the film. Reminds me of R2D2 from Star Wars. And just this. I wish this movie never got a remake because this film stands on its own. It never got a sequel or a prequel or anything. It deserves to be high on a pedestal because it's one of the best fantasy films that have ever been made with practical effects. No CGI in this film, no computers whatsoever. All the creatures look great. Harryhausen worked his ass off. He definitely put everything into this film when it came to the special effects. He did not half-ass anything. The money's on the screen when you see it what these creatures look like. It's got gore, it's got nudity, and it's got a great story and likable characters that you can latch on to. And it is a classic, and I definitely am glad I got to talk about it because it holds a place in my heart. So the original Clash of the Titans. Anyway, that's my review of Clash of the Titans, the 1981 classic. And I hope that you guys consider watching it because I haven't watched it in a while. I need to watch it again. But it is what it is. It's the original. It's the one and only. And like they said in Scream 4, never fuck with the original. Yeah, never do that because then you're gonna get bitten. Anyway, thanks for watching, subscribing, commenting. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching my videos. This month has been very stressful, but you know, life goes on, and we have a month of May. Next week, I'm going to see Civil War. I'm going to have a great time, and I'm going to review that film. You guys are going to love it, and I can't wait to see Spider-Man in that film and everybody else because it's going to be awesome. So, later, guys.